Alright, today we're going to be looking at the basic setup and use of Spectrum's new Xumo box. The first thing we're going to see here is the Hello Hola screen. Now this is just a boot screen, you can't actually do anything on this screen, so what we're going to wait for is the language selection screen. Here's the language selection screen. We have options for English and Spanish. I'm going to go ahead and choose English because I don't know Spanish. It'll then ask us to confirm our language selection. We'll go ahead and hit yes. And as you can probably tell, voice guidance is on by default, so we're going to go ahead and turn that off. Now we come to the Get Connected screen. I'm going to go ahead and connect using Wi-Fi and a password, but if you have an Ethernet cable plugged in, you can choose that. It's going to go ahead and search for my Wi-Fi networks, and there's mine, Matt's Wi-Fi. I'm going to go ahead and choose my 5 gigahertz network here, and then I'm going to put in the password. Now, my password will be blanked out, but while you're typing yours, you will be able to see it. I'm going to go ahead and just fast forward through this part because it takes me a while to type my password. Now that I finally got that password in, I hit continue and it's going to say let's get connected. While it connects to my network, it's going to run a little network test there and say I'm now connected. After that, it's going to check for software updates. Mine does not have any updates, but if yours does, go ahead and let it update. After that, we'll get the Xumo splash screen here, and then we can start the actual setup. It's going to go ahead and check my status. What that means, I don't know, but it's going to do it for a little while. I'm going to go ahead and fast forward through this part, but if you notice yours is taking longer than mine, it's okay, it just takes a little bit. And after it's checked our status, it's going to ask us to connect our remote. We're going to hit the little microphone button on the remote so it connects through Bluetooth. We should get a remote successful connection screen here shortly. There we go, remote is now connected. We'll hit continue. Now, if you want to use your remote to control your TV, go ahead and follow these settings. I'm just gonna, hit yes just to simulate it. I'll pretend I didn't get connected. I'll go ahead and hit no. It'll ask us what brand TV we have. We can, search for the TV and do it that way. Next up is the privacy policy. You can go ahead and read through this policy. It's quite long, obviously. I'm gonna go ahead and just scroll down and accept it. And once we accept that privacy policy, it's going to have us link our account to the Xumo. It'll give us this code on the screen. It's going to have us go to xumo.com/activate, so we'll go ahead and do that. Now, I'm going to use Chrome browser on my PC, but you can use a phone or a tablet, it doesn't matter. And we're going to go ahead and type in xumo.com/activate into the address bar. And then from here, we're going to put in that code we saw on the TV screen. And once we do that, it's going to ask us to link our account. I'm going to go ahead and do the Spectrum method just to kind of show you what that looks like. Now, it has been failing on me, but I can't blame Spectrum for that one because it's probably because I already have a Xumo account linked. But I'm just going to do this part to kind of show you what it looks like. I'm going to pretend I'm not signed in, so we'll go ahead and put in my username. I have some of this blocked out so you won't see my full username, but you can see me typing it there. And then I'll put in my password, and then I'll go ahead and hit sign in. Now, it's going to give us some terms to agree to. I do try not to agree to any terms if I can help it. So I go ahead and hit agree and continue just to see if I can get by, but of course it does not let me. So I do have to agree to at least that first one, so I'll go ahead and hit agree and continue. And there I get sorry something went wrong, which I do not, again, blame Spectrum for that. It's probably because I already have my Xumo account linked. So I'm going to go ahead and go back. I'm going to hit try again. I'm going to go ahead and enter that code from the TV again. Then we'll agree to this privacy policy and hit continue. And I'm going to go ahead and enter my email address. Now, when you enter your email address and hit continue with Xumo, it's going to have you create an account. For me, I already have an account, so it's going to go ahead and say welcome back and then ask me for my password. I'm going to go ahead and input that password now. After that, we'll go ahead and hit sign in. It's going to give us a little screen that says, great, your device is ready to be set up. So we'll go back to the TV screen here. Here we get a page saying we successfully linked our account, so we'll go ahead and hit continue. It's going to ask us what room our streaming box is in. I'm going to choose living room. Then it'll ask us our time zone. I'm going to go ahead and choose Eastern. And then from here it'll ask us if we want to share our watch history. I do not, so I hit do not allow. And then voila, it's going to load up our Xumo homepage. And now that we're at the home page, we're going to go ahead and check out the Spectrum app first and foremost. You can see it doesn't show on this first line here, so I'm going to go down to the apps line and choose Spectrum. We'll go ahead and load that up. Now if this is the first time you've launched the Spectrum video app on here, we do have to do the services agreement, so we'll go ahead and hit agree. Then it'll start loading up the Spectrum app, and it'll give us the option to exit to live, so we'll go ahead and do that. And then once we exit to live, we're going to bring up the mini guide by pressing the right of the big black circle button on that remote. And I'm going to hold the middle of that big black circle button to bring up those filters. And I do want to change the sort by to channel number, just so I have all those channels in order. That looks a little nicer. We'll go ahead again, press that select button to test if we can change the channel using the mini guide. And it looks like it worked perfectly. It's also giving us the option to restart, which is a really nice feature. I'm going to go ahead and hit the number buttons 1 and 3 to see if that works for changing the channel, and it does. It also gives us the option to record up there, which is really nice if you have cloud DVR. Now we're going to go ahead and hit the back button on the remote to access the top menu. We're going to go over to My Library, and here we can view our DVR recordings if you do have cloud DVR. I've got a few recordings here that I did just for testing purposes, so we'll go over to Supernatural and we'll launch episode 20 here, just to kind of give you a feel of how the cloud DVR works and looks. And once this recording loads up, we can see we still have access to our mini guide. We can also access recently watched by hitting the down arrow. And then we can also play, fast forward, rewind by hitting the OK button on the remote. We can fast forward through commercials, which is really nice. That's a main reason, to have cloud DVR. Down below there, you can see we can also restart it, which is cool. If we, kind of walk away, miss it, need to, just restart it from the beginning. And once we have the show fast forwarded to where we want it, we can hit the back button and let it play. I'm going to go ahead and hit the back button a few times here just to back all the way out of this. And then I'm going to go back up to that top menu, go over to On Demand, and we're going to check out the Video On Demand options. Now, Video On Demand, you can see new and trending there, but we can also sort it by TV shows, movies, and my favorite networks. So we'll go all the way down here. We're just going to pick a random network. We'll go for Food Network here. And then once we're there, we're just going to pick on a random show just so I can kind of show you what that looks like. We're going to go down a little bit here. We'll choose Barbecue USA. Here, I like to go by the episodes, so I'm going to go over to episodes, go ahead and click on that, scroll all the way down, and we'll just pick episode 1 of season 2 just to see what that looks like. Now, one drawback of the video on demand versus a cloud DVR is that you do have to watch the ads. You have no, fast forward, rewind, pause, anything like that. Now you do still have access to the guide from here, so you can go straight from video on demand back to live TV. That's pretty much all there is in the Spectrum app that I find interesting, so we're going to go ahead and back all the way out of here and go back to the home menu of the Xumo. Now that we're back on the home menu, I'm going to scroll to the second row, hit Apps View All. Now the Xumo is a little different than, say, a Roku or an Android or a Fire Stick. There is no app store. It's kind of a you get what you get situation, so I would definitely suggest taking a look at the apps available, make sure they have what you want. Now we can figure out what apps are on here by going alphabetically. Here you can see we have all of the P options and R options. I'm going to go ahead and look for Tubi, so we'll go between S and U. We're going to scroll down here so I can find Tubi on here. And we'll go ahead and launch Tubi. I'm also going to get rid of this remote on the screen. I hope by now you kind of got the hang of it. Again, I'm not going to share my information. We'll go ahead and let Tubi launch up. And if you've ever used Tubi on, let's say, a Roku or an Android, it's not going to be much different on the Xumo. Most of the apps are going to be exactly the same. The only one that I found that did have some limitations was the Plex app, which will not let you view your local content. So I would say if you are an avid Plex user, to avoid the Xumo completely. It will not work for you. And we're just kind of scrolling through the guide here on Tubi, kind of showing you how it looks, how it functions compared to, the other streaming devices. We'll take a look at this for a second, then we'll go back to the home menu. I'm going to show you some other features that are specific to the Xumo. Alright, we're going to go ahead and hit the home button, back out of Tubi, go into the My List in the Xumo main home page. We'll check out the TV shows I have added to my list, so I'll scroll over, choose my profile. Here you can see I've got a few shows already added: Dexter Original Sin, Watson. And I do have to say, I actually didn't use this feature at first, but the more I used it, the more I kind of really got into it. So since I have a bunch of streaming services through Spectrum, I'm talking, HBO Max, Paramount, Disney Plus, Hulu, and Peacock pretty soon, I can go through any of those streaming services, choose any of those shows, add them to my favorites, and then I have them all in one place, so it's actually fairly convenient. And here you can see me pulling up the shows again, so, if I pick Paradise, it tells me it's on Hulu. I can go ahead and choose the episode right from there. It's really nice. We also have the Xumo guide on the home page. Now, as far as I can tell, this only shows Xumo Play content. If there is a way to show other content on here, I haven't quite figured it out yet. But Xumo Play does have some decent free content on there, so, if you ever want to look through this, it's worth it. They've got, Fail Army Channel, Fox Weather, Dateline. So really just more content for you to choose from, if you're bored and looking for something. Okay, so we're going to back out of the Xumo guide, view the rest of the Xumo homepage. We have things like top 20 free content, lots of free content as you go down, but really what we're interested in is down at the very bottom, and that's going to be our settings. Now, some remotes do have a settings button on them, but you can always find the settings down here at the bottom. This is our settings page. It's just got a few blocks here that we can choose from. We'll go ahead and go through these just so you can kind of get a feel for them. First one is picture and sound. Here we can set our picture resolution and our sound setting. So picture, I've got mine at 1080p, but you can go all the way up to 2160p UHD. Here we have our network settings. You can see my status is connected, and then of course we have our advanced settings there. Over on accessibility, we can do captions, voice guidance, narration, a lot of good things, if you do need that assistance. And then connected devices, we can connect our remote to control our TV. If you haven't already, we can also have it control a speaker system. And then of course parental controls, where we can set parental pins to restrict content. Next up is privacy, where we can choose what and what not to share with both Xumo and Spectrum. Personally, I just leave all of these off. And then we have startup and standby, where we can set auto standby, network standby, overnight power savings. We can put a sleep timer on there. Really important, default to live TV. I suggest you turn that on if you want it to go straight to Spectrum. And then HDMI control is good to have on as well. Viewing preferences is just, autoplay, what your TV provider is. They do have set up your favorite apps. I haven't gotten that to work yet. Kind of just goes to this screen. I'll, figure that out later, I guess. We'll go ahead and go back to the main settings menu here. And then last but not least is system management. Here we can view the system info, our current firmware and things like that. We can also go back and view our region and language. I have my time zone as Eastern and my language as English. And then resets and updates. This is important in case your device is ever acting weird. You can restart your device, refresh your apps. Locally stored data will clear all of the data on your app, so I suggest you stay away from that one unless you definitely need it. And that's pretty much it. I mean, there's a lot more to explore on here, but that'll get you by with the basics. The Xumo box, like I said, it's not for everybody, but, if you want something that's closer to kind of a cable box, but still streaming, it's not a bad choice. It does do full 4K, which is nice. Yeah, I mean, test it out, see if it works for you. If not, no harm, no foul. Spectrum doesn't have any contracts or anything, so you can just send it right back if you don't like it. I appreciate you watching the video, and I hope y'all have a great rest of your day.